trying to figure out whether to intervene. Should the United States? You may take it, whichever one of you takes it first, and then pass it on.
Again, with foreign policy, we have a perfect example of how the Democrats in this country have been weak. They refused to take a stand on Syria. They've let this problem fester and ignored it, month after month. Thousands of deaths after thousands of deaths. Now, we will not commit troops to Syria under my presidency. We already have enough issues with Iran and Korea, as I said. But we will help the Syrian rebellion. We plan to arm the Syrian rebellion and give them strategic advice so they may overthrow their dictator and place democracy, a democratic foothold in the Middle East. The Democrats have ignored this problem and refused to openly support the Syrian rebellion. I think that's a mistake.
That's an interesting position you have on there, on that issue, Mr. Bouvet. I'd also like to reference another time where we aided a rebellion in the Middle East, Iran-Contra. It didn't go well that time. I don't believe it's going to go that well this time either. I believe that the United States' role in resolving this conflict is doing just that, resolving it. We don't need to give weapons to the Syrian rebellion. We don't need to promote violence. What we need to do is make this a peacekeeping mission for ourselves. It's our responsibility, our obligation as a superpower, as the lone superpower in this world, to do that. Again, I do not believe promoting violence is the solution to this.
I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Brennan here. Is it Governor Lee? I'm going to say Mr. Brennan. I like that one better. As the Green Party, we support peace throughout the entirety of the world. This is obviously concerning, the bombings in Syria, but like I said earlier, we have issues here. We will use diplomacy, we will assist in any way we can, but we will not encourage violence. Why waste more lives? Yet again, $3.7 trillion on board that is completely wasteful. Why continue?
Thank you. Throughout this debate, I will allow candidates to request 30 seconds to respond to comments directed particularly towards them. Mr. Booth has asked for that time, and I'll give him 30 seconds now.
Thank you. These two candidates here are asking for peace, but they present no plan for how to achieve that peace. They say if we let this problem alone, it will solve itself. We've given this about a year. It has not solved itself. We have to commit our support, our full support, not through troops, but through advice, strategic advice, and arms, so they may be on par with this government, this dictator, and overthrow it and instill foothold in the Middle East.
Thank you, Mr. Bouvet. Mr. Lee has asked for 30 seconds as well.
I'm not sure if you hadn't heard my position beforehand. I explicitly said we need to take direct measures to provide a peacekeeping. I believe that it's true. We do need to provide advice. We don't need to provide advice to further tear this country apart. This country is on the brink of destruction. Thousands.
Mr. Bouvet, I'll allow you to wait. Mr. Lee? All right. You may continue for another 10 seconds.
A peacekeeping mission. We've done it before, we're going to do it again, and this time we're going to employ the use of other nations around the world because we're not the only people who have a vested interest in seeing this conflict be resolved peacefully, Mr. Bouvet.
Senator Miller, would you like to say anything? Thank you. All right. We'll move on from foreign policy to policy here at home. The biggest issue on many voters' minds is the economy. Right now, official unemployment levels hover at just under 8%. That number doubles when you include Americans who are working part-time jobs but want more, or have given up their job search entirely. As President of the United States, do you believe that you'll have a role in increasing the number of Americans with jobs? And if so, how? We begin with Senator Miller.
As President, I would guarantee 16 new jobs in environmental research. Yeah, that's correct. Actually, you're a funny bunch, aren't you? What did I say? So, yeah, 16 new jobs total. It'll help like 3 families. It's good stuff. No, yeah, 16 million new jobs in environmental research and alternative energy sources. Not to mention the fact that if we increase what we are recycling now, we can create 13 million new jobs on top of the 1/3 of our population who already have a job in recycling and waste removal. So that should be enough right there.
Thank you. Mr. Bourbon.
I'm not doubting that Senator Miller believes these things. They're simply not going to happen though. We can't create 16 million jobs in the green sector alone. We have to broaden our scope. The plan proposed is simple. We roll back regulations that are burdening our economy, and we cut taxes for all Americans, not dividing Americans, but all Americans. In doing these two things, we can liberate our economy, get the wheels turning again, increase production, increase manufacturing, increase growth. Our unemployment rate will steadily drop after we implement these policies, and we will once again be the strongest economy in the world.
Thank you, and Governor Lee.
As I said before, a strong middle class equals a strong America. That's why my economic policy is directly towards providing tax cuts for the middle class. You'll notice Mr. Boubin said specifically tax cuts across the board. Many Republicans have accused Obama of running up the deficit. Cutting taxes across the board for high-income Americans that already pay an income less than what you all pay? That doesn't sound fair to me at all. If I'm elected president, I'm going to raise the taxes on high-income earners of over $1 million. I'm going to use that money to invest in things like education and healthcare. These are costs that are going to come off of your shoulders, so you're going to be able to work more effectively.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll come back to the subject of the economy for our presidential candidates in a little while. But for now, I want to turn to our senatorial candidates and give them a chance to introduce themselves to you. As we know, some members of the audience will have to leave at a halfway point. I'll let people know when that is. And so each candidate on stage tonight will have a chance to speak both during the first half and the second half of today's debate. For opening statements, we'll turn first to Mr. Potter. These are our candidates for U.S. Senator from the state of Virginia.
First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Robinson for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I would also like to thank all of you for coming to participate in the election, and the presidential candidates and senatorial candidates have joined me here on stage. Government is bound by duty. It has the duty to protect, a duty to serve, and a duty to uphold the Constitution. Every citizen in this great country has the right to, in the words of Thomas Jefferson, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I stand before you today with a promise. If I'm elected, I will uphold this sacred contract. I will uphold my duty to protect the environment and my duty not to overspend and balance the budget. I will uphold my duty to support health care reform and my duty to prevent any form of discrimination. America is built on equality and is the backbone of our society. I will help to support immigration reform and equal opportunity for all Americans, regardless of race, gender, income, or sexual orientation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Potter. Our next opening statement will come from Mayor Kane of Alexandria.
Hello, my fellow Americans. It's wonderful to be here at CHS today, and it's great to see such a good turnout. I address you all as your Democratic candidate for Senate. I don't want to bore you by discussing topics that you do not find important. Instead, I want to touch on a few main points that are near and dear to my heart, and hopefully to yours as well. First of all, we're here at CHS in order to receive an education. Education is the most important aspect of your lives right now, and I believe that our government is not investing heavily enough in our public education system. As students, you are the future of this country, and to make the right future, we need a strong and educated workforce. And our economy is struggling. It's the lower and middle classes that are being hit the hardest. I promise that as your senator, I will work to pass legislation to provide significant financial reform. I will work together with American businesses in order to expand our workforce and make this country prosperous again. American business and ingenuity led to our successes in the past, and it will lead to our success in the future.
Thank you very much. And Governor Coleman of Virginia, you also will have 60 seconds for your opening statement.
Hello, my fellow Americans. Politics has become more and more partisan over the past few years. Politicians have ignored what this country is founded on, and now politics is more of a nationwide football game where each side does what they can to win. I want to end this trend. I believe in the basic right of freedom because this nation was founded on freedom. And I will fight to protect your your freedom both economically and socially. I will fight to remove the highly restrictive regulations on the economy that are stopping economic growth, but I will not stop at regulating corporate corruption. I will stop corruption in America. I will also protect the freedom of life by opposing abortion, except in cases of rape, incest, and other traumatizing circumstances. I will fight to protect your right to freedom of choice when it comes to healthcare and to marriage. In short, I will always fight to protect your freedom, no matter what.
Thank you to all three candidates. A couple of you mentioned a topic that appeared at the top of a recent poll of our very own electorate. It shows that voters pick education as the issue most important to them. Well, senators write laws, and you three will have the chance, if you're elected senator, to address the issue of education. There are vast disparities in our country's educational system. Some school districts provide computers to every student. Others don't have enough money to provide textbooks to their students. Likewise, the cost of college is soaring, and many high school students are worried about their educational futures. What are your proposals to reform the education system? We'll begin with Governor Coleman. You have 60 seconds.
Education is extremely important in today's society. It shapes our future as not just individuals, but as a country. I believe that more funding needs to go into the education system, but it also needs to be more evenly spread. Certain public schools cannot have computers while other public schools do not. Every public school must have equal representation in Congress, and the Congress needs to care about the schools. Teachers need to be paid more. People need to understand how important teachers and education is to our future. If we do not give more funding to our schools, then we are going to have a weak future in America.
Thank you. Mr. Potter.
Education is the key to success. Without it, you have a very small chance of being successful in your life. Now, if we make the secondary education system more level for all people and lower the rising costs of college tuition, we can make more people get more educated, and with this education growth, they can become more successful in their life. Now, we cannot doubt and not say that our economy is in trouble. With growth of these well-educated people, we can fill the new jobs of the future which will grow our economy.
Thank you, and Mayor King.
Well, this generation of students is the generation that's going to be leading our country in the next 30 or so years, and we need to ensure that they are capable of doing that. The quality of public schools has been slipping in this country. Other countries outmatch us vastly in the quality of public education. So it's key that more money be invested in public education, paying teachers more, and repealing laws such as No Child Left Behind, which does not help. Improving education will improve our workforce and allow our economy to recover as we gain more skilled labor in the United States. Providing tax cuts and financial aid for students looking to go to college is a key aspect to help people become more qualified workers.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a follow-up here because I heard a lot of agreement, and I want to make sure I know the areas where you three are different. And there probably are, but we might have missed them. So I'm going to ask each candidate to take roughly 15 seconds to tell us a proposal that only you have made or an area where you disagree with your opponents. We'll begin with Mayor Kane.
Well, one of the key proposals that I plan to bring up is providing financial aid for college students specifically. There's a lot of, the price of college tuition has been rising in recent years, and it's making it a lot more difficult for students to attend universities, which decreases the quality of our labor force.
Thank you. Mr. Potter?
Well, with my various economic programs, we will have enough money in the United States to lower our national debt and afford to create a system where we can give every student funding to pay for whatever college they want, so they will not come out of college burdened with loans.
Thank you. And Governor Coleman?
I have to say that I do disagree with Mr. Kane on the repeal of No Child Left Behind. I think that it does need to be fixed. I think that it holds back many successful students. But I think that it is important to bridge the gap between students who feel that because of a lack of money or because of how they are brought up that they cannot achieve higher success in education.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman. We're going to move forward to the next question. Candidates, many observers say that the United States Congress is broken. The two parties are more polarized than at any time in modern history, with Republicans and Democrats disagreeing on almost everything. The current Congress has passed fewer bills than any Congress in the last 50 years. New laws just aren't getting signed. I'd like to learn more about how you plan to get things done in the Senate. Mayor Kane, you're a Democrat. Your party controls the Senate right now, and you're just not getting things done. Tell us how you changed that and pass the legislation you proposed in the Senate.
Well, personally, I have no problem with bipartisanship. I believe that the parties need to work together in order to run this country effectively. And the current gridlock that we're at is because of parties that are refusing to cooperate with each other. And I plan to bring an air of cooperation and an attempt to aspire my fellow congressmen in the Democratic Party to encourage cooperation with the Republican Party more.
Thank you, Governor Coleman. You're a Republican. Your party's in the minority in the Senate, and it's been blocking bills at an astounding rate. By threatening a filibuster, Republicans have slowed down the Senate to a standstill. Will you work with both parties to get things done, and how?
Well, our country and our Congress was founded on compromise. We have a Senate and a House of Representatives because of compromise, and so clearly the success of our nation can be attributed to compromise. I think that even though it sounds simplistic, the way to achieve compromise is to have each party truly listen to each other, and it seems like there is no way to do that, but I think by reaching compromise in our bills and in our proposals, by understanding both sides and incorporating ideas from both parties and even independent parties, I think that way we can achieve cooperation within our Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Potter. You're an independent. Some would say you have no natural allies in the Senate. It's dominated by the two major parties. How will you find colleagues who will work with you?
Now, the parties themselves may stick together and seem like little groups that are impenetrable to a little independent like me. But independents make compromises between the parties. They often will take a middle ground, which may seem too right-of-wing for Mr. Kane or too left-of-wing for Governor Coleman. But with a true independent, you can go for what items, issues are important to you. So, for example, on various social matters, I might go with the Democrats and support them, while on other matters I might go with the Republicans. And it's all about what seems to me the best for the people, because an independent can truly represent you the best. The Democrats follow their platform, and the Republicans follow their platform, and we're stuck if you don't agree with certain ones.
Thank you. You've all three talked about bipartisanship just now, but there have been some critics of the campaign. Although you've each put forward serious issues, there have also been mysterious attacks anonymously against one of the candidates, comparisons to Harry Potter villains, and arguments that good looks might be what should dominate a campaign. I'd like to allow each of you to take a chance, and any one of you can volunteer to be the first, to address the tenor of this campaign and the criticism of it.
Well, there have been a lot of attack ads against me, and first I'd like to point out that I have not attacked either of my fellow candidates in any way, because I believe that that is not the way you should have an election. There was an ad put up the other day that claims that 86% of people think I'm hiding something. Well, I am. It's my love of the American people, and my desire to make this country great. If Potter says he's Potter, then Kane says he's not vain. Yeah, and movie characters, really.
We'll allow a chance for the other candidates to speak as well. Mr. Potter.
You talk about me running ads with movie characters, you let people throw pies at you. So, how can you criticize me for being serious? Now, you may claim that you have high morals and not wish to run attack ads. One thing which almost no one in this audience knows is that the anonymous ads claiming the 86% were run by Governor Coleman here. Now, who did you think initially ran those ads? Me. You claim that you're all right and moral, yet you backstab people who don't do
Thank you, Mr. Potter. And Governor Coleman.
Well, I would just like to point out that while these two gentlemen have both been attacked and they have both been judged for things that they've done, I have not been attacked at all. And the thing is, this may seem like a good thing. It may seem like all of you are going to vote for me, but really I think I'm underestimated. Not only am I the Republican candidate, but I'm also a woman. I'm the only woman running in this campaign. And I believe that these men are underestimating the power of being a woman.
Thank you, audience, and thank you for coming to our hushed and respectful silence as well. We've heard from all 6 candidates now. What I'd like to do is allow for some questions from the audience during this half as well as the second half. If you've got a question right now, you may line up in either aisle and we have people ready with microphones to take audience questions. You can address a question to the presidential candidates, to the senatorial candidates, or to all. We probably have time for your first 2 questions. All right. We have our first question, it looks like. Thomas, you can take our first question.
Hello. James Madison, one of our most prominent founding fathers, believed that the rights, specifically the property rights of the minority, should always be protected against vicious majority. How will you protect the 1% against prejudiced population?
I'll let our presidential candidates take this question first. How would you protect the 1%? And by that, sir, do you mean the top 1% of income? How would you protect the people making the top 1% in our country from vilification by others? Mr. Bouvier.
All right, thank you for asking that question, Mr. Corcoran. I believe strongly in equal rights for everyone, whether they be the poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich. We're a country unified by our love for America. So if you're saying how I protect the 1%, my answer is simple. I'll protect them just like I protect anyone else. Their rights are no different from mine or Governor Lee's or Senator Miller's.
Thank you very much. Senator Miller?
Surprisingly enough, I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Bouvier on this one. The only thing I can truly offer the 1% is a tax decrease on environmentally safe waste removal. Besides that, we need to treat everyone equally, and that being said, it's not that way right now, and I guarantee that it will be if I'm elected as president.
Thank you. And Governor Lee?
Yes, I think we're all in a similar agreement here. If you're an American citizen here, you're going to get treated the same by the government. And in terms of taxes, which I know is a big deal for the top 1%, I want an equal across-the-board tax rate. That seems equal to me. That seems fair to everybody, and that's the kind of tax I will institute as President of the United States.
Just to clarify, Governor Lee, right now our tax system is a progressive tax system in which the wealthy have a base tax rate that is higher than the poor. Although there are many deductions, which allows for, in the end, a tax rate that's very similar. Are you asking for a flat tax that applies the same to everyone?
I'm saying that the resultant tax rate, including the deductions, including the loopholes, the resultant tax rate will be equal for all American citizens.
Thank you. Just wanted a clarification, which I'll do occasionally throughout the day. I think what I'll do is take a question directed to our Senate candidates, unless our Senate candidates would like to reply to the 1% question. It looks like they would. All right.
I don't think the 1% need protection at all. A elite-controlled media already, can influence politics enough as it is. They don't need to be protected more than they already are. Their money is their protection, and they have far too much influence in government.
Mr. Pop?
Now, it sounds like to me that you're just willing to discriminate against those who are in the top. Now, we do have a progressive tax code, which the rich do pay more than the poor. And many of these deductions are deductions which are for good cause. There's charitable deductions, there's deductions for sending your kid to college, and so many of these are go to good causes. Now, if you elect me to the Senate, many of my bills will apply to all Americans, regardless of how rich or poor they are. Many of my ways of reducing the national debt affect each other.
You gotta cut you short, Mr. Connor.
I believe that what President Barack Obama said in his State of the Union address about America needing to mimic its military and its sense of togetherness applies very well to how we should do our taxes. I think that across the board, everyone should have taxes that are equal, not taxes that everyone pays a certain dollar amount, but that everyone pays a certain percentage. It's what makes sense, it will help the poor, it will help the rich, and no one will be discriminated against.
Thank you. There goes a cup, but it's okay because it was an empty one. Candidates, we now have 2 minutes left before our intermission. I would like to take the opportunity for one brief question. If anyone has a question the candidates can respond to quickly, we'll let them have it. Mr. Brown?
I was wondering how you felt the government should interfere with people's personal freedoms and their lives.
A broad question about personal freedoms. I'm only going to allow a very short time for each candidate to respond to what that means to them. Anyone can start as soon as they have a mic.
Here's the problem. The government should not be involved in the personal lives of the people. Equality in marriage and race and sex, that should be standard. The fact that it's a problem still actually disgusts me. And I plan on changing that as president.
Thank you.
See, you say that, and then with the other side of your face, you tell us that we're going to regulate corporations, tell them what they can and can't do, what they can and can't produce. Government should not be involved in our lives. They have the role to meddle with what we want to do. Government should only ensure common defense and national security. Aside from that, we believe that the American people know what they're doing. We have faith in the American people.
Thank you, Mr. Rubin. We've got to move on.
What it sounds like Mr. Rubin is saying is that if you're hurt by another American citizen who commits an action that disallows you to do what you want to do, he's okay with that. He sounds all right. If big business if big business is pushing your small business out of your town or your city, he's not going to take a step in that. Tough luck. That's on you.
We'll have more time to respond to specific accusations in the second half of the debate, but I want to allow also, we have 1 more minute left, so each candidate can have 20 seconds to respond here.
Well, personally, I believe that everyone should have the right to live the way they want to live. That means equal marriage rights. That means everyone should have access to affordable health care, tax equality.
The bell has not rung yet, so if you are able to wait, I would love to be able to switch you when the bell rings.
We do not need to be sheltering the very wealthy, rich, Harvard graduate, white males who run corporations.
So you're saying that you do not want to protect yourself?
We have 20 seconds.
Now, everyone in the U.S. should be equal, and our rights are based on theories of John Locke. And when you enter into a society, you have to give up some of those rights. Now, as long as you are not harming anyone else, I see no problem with you doing whatever it is that you want to do.
Thank you. And Governor Coleman, our final thoughts. If you have to leave, be sure to drop your ballot in the box on the way out.
I just have one point against Mr. Kane here. He says that he wants no one to be discriminated against, everyone to have what they want. Then are you in favor of affirmative action? If you're in favor of affirmative action, you are discriminating against the law.
Thank you. At this point, we'll get more responses in our second half. But now those who have to be elsewhere